Okay, it's here. They haven't started the meeting yet. Showed all the participants. It says unmute. And start the video in the bottom left. So
Yeah.
Call the roll, please.
Let's call the meeting to order.
Call the meeting to order.
You call.
I call the meeting to order. Call the roll, please.
Here, Belker.
Here.
Her, here. Stewart.
Here.
Webster. Here.
We are all here and accounted for. There's been a suggested amendment to the agenda because things have happened. So, Mr. Chair, would you entertain a motion to amend the agenda?
Yes.
Is there anyone that would like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion. And I'll read this, I'm not quite sure I get the whole thing, but okay. That the agenda for the meeting of the zoning board of appeals for October 2nd, 2023 be amended as attached to this motion due to recent events that were discovered within the last 3 days. I don't know what is as attached is.
There was supposed to be an attachment of the amended agenda to that. My apologies for not
Okay,
getting that to you. But I believe that the chair has, and I think Cindy has the amended agenda for the board members. Things have been moving rather rapidly today. I apologize for not having that attached.
so I'll amend the agenda as whatever is attached. So
Okay.
I'll move.
All right, is there support for that? Catherine?
Vote.
Roll call.
This is on the motion to amend the agenda.
My roll call sheet.
Am I?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Justus, here, yes. Belker,
Yes.
Kerr, yes. Stewart,
Yes.
Webster.
Yes,
The motion carries and the agenda has been amended. Approval of the minutes from the special meeting on September 11. Would you like to entertain a motion, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Would someone like to make a motion?
so support.
There were some changes in the minutes. In the transcript, those should be identified what they are.
Right.
Is that the next, are we just not doing Tammy's minutes and then the court is the second one?
First.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So I didn't see anything wrong with the one submitted by Tammy, no.
So
I would
you,
move to accept.
Second,
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Then we have some corrections in the transcript.
yes, I understand that there is at the very end on page. Okay, we can find it.
Page 66.
We are on page 22 on my red.
Oh, on yours, okay.
At the very end, the motion, I think it was, yes, it would be page 66. I see what you're saying. Is, on line 3, I believe that's me. Not,
Not Catherine.
Catherine.
Okay.
And then lane 5, 5 would be the same, line 5.
Mm-hmm.
Lane 10, I believe. And then Catherine, I believe. No, I'm not sure 12.
Line 12, you mean?
Yeah, line 12, I'm not sure who that should be. Because Mr. Belker seconded on line 13. So I'm not sure what line, who said that on line 12.
Okay, well, you all have to sort that out so that the motion is clear, what changes are going to be made.
Okay. Who may have said that. You need a second.
It's likely I did.
Okay. So I will leave line 12 the way it is.
Okay,
It's likely I said.
so you were asking for a second.
Yes, and then Mr. Belker, Rex, second.
Okay.
I
And then
believe
I,
that's the corrections.
and then I had some corrections on page 1 and 2. I'm listed as a zoning board member and I'm not a zoning board member. I should be under others present, where Morgan and Daniel DeFranco, not David DeFranco.
And just so everyone realizes, these are not all that significant of changes, and it's very typical for these kinds of things to occur in a meeting where there's a lot of people talking, and it's difficult for the reporter to take that down and get it appropriately assigned. It would be helpful for her purpose if you, when you speak up, say, Kerr or Tammy, Catherine, I'm Cindy, I say this,
Okay.
and that will help her a lot to eliminate some of these misreferences to people that are speaking. And I'm getting a good nod from the reporter who's smiling and saying, yes, please. So if you would do that, you won't remember, but when you do remember, please do that if you could.
Okay, and then as we did at our last meeting, I'm just going to review some of how we're expected to proceed.
Well, wait, we need to vote
Oh,
on
we didn't vote.
the amendments.
Yep. All those in favor?
Do you need a motion first? Webster move to accept the minutes of September 11th, 2023 by the court reporter as amended.
Okay,
Second.
thank you.
Now I'll vote.
Okay, that, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Now we'll move on to some comments similar to that I made at the last meeting about how we're expected to proceed in a cordial, responsible way. We do have the court reporter here, and it's very difficult if we talk over one another. So please do not speak until you're recognized by the chair. Then give your name and address before addressing the chair or otherwise questioning or commenting on any matter. Once we open the public hearing, we're going to alternate between audience members and Zoom members, so everyone has a fair opportunity to speak. We'll do our business for, okay, we did open our meeting, so we are good on that.
Mr. Chairperson, you should then move to making the official minutes to include the court reporter's transcript. Okay, so we need to have a vote on that again.
We should, yeah.
Move to allow the court reporters record minutes, transcripts to be official minutes of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Number 4.
Fine.
5. Okay, the chair, at this time, I'll open the meeting for public comment, matters not related to the lawsuit of Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance v. Saugatuck Township and North Shores of Saugatuck LLC, pending in the Allegheny Court Circuit Court, case number 17-58936-AA and 18-59598-AA. The board requests that the public reserve comment on any matters dealing with Coastal Alliance and North Shores development at this time. Those matters will be addressed very soon in the public hearing portion of this meeting. Anyone offering public comment on matters unrelated to the matter between SDCA and North Shore shall have 3 minutes to speak. Please state your name and address before making comment. There'll be, if we're over to public comment, does anybody have anything not related to the subject today? There being no further public comments on unrelated matters, we'll move on to unfinished business.
Okay, unfinished business, we have a request for appeal of the Planning Commission's preliminary approval of the PUD site condo and SAU, which is special approval use for North Shores of Saugatuck. I'll go ahead and read the order. As to the order of remand from the Circuit Court of Allegan County, the court conducted a hearing on April 24, 2023 regarding the appellate's motion to strike, at which all parties were in attendance. In lieu of issuing a decision regarding the appellate's motion to strike, the court remands the case to the Saugatuck Township Zoning Board of Appeals pursuant to section MCL 125.3.36062 of the Michigan Supreme Court decision in Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance versus Saugatuck Township, 509 Michigan, 561 in 2022. This court, for reasons stated on the record, determines that the record is inadequate to make the review required by MCL 125.36005 and MCL 125.30606, paragraph 1, and finds that additional material evidence exists with good reason that was not presented to the ZBA. The ZBA is instructed to decide the Coastal Dunes Alliance has standing to appeal the decision of the planning commission based on the test announced in the above cited Supreme Court decision. The ZBA is also instructed to consider the evidence submitted to it previously, and also additional material evidence that with good reason was not previously submitted for purposes of analyzing standing, and to follow the procedures outlined in MCL 125.30606, paragraph 2.
ZBA has received documents from the SDCA and North Shores for review in an attempt to comply with Judge Kangas' order. In preparation for this meeting, it has been determined that a packet of documents submitted by the developer North Shores was not forwarded to the ZBA members who review this meeting. Even without this additional material, the amount of documents that have been submitted to the members for review before this meeting, I understand when printed, is over 5 inches high. That's it, right there. I think it's 1,587 pages or something like that. By my count, was not presented on vision. Okay, I'm off filter here.
Bottom of it.
Where are we?
Would you talk into the microphone? please?
Yeah, it's just what I'm trying to figure out where we are.
By my count, nearly 2,000 pages. I'm told that the submission that was not received by the board members contains 589 additional pages. Even today, the board has received yet more material. With these developments, it does not seem likely the board will begin voting on the documents submitted by the SDCA or North Shores this evening. Public and council are asked to consider this during the public comment period of this meeting. If it seems like we're a little disjointed, nobody's done this before. It's the very first case of this kind in the state of Michigan. So if we seem to stumble, if it looks like we don't know what we're doing, we're really just trying to do it right. It's kind of like in the elections, the Board of Elections doesn't tell you what you have to do. They just tell you, you better do it right. So we're just trying to do it right.
I think everybody here on the board is really committed to making this decision the way it should be made. And in order to do that, we have to find a way to take all this material and put it where it needs to be in our head. We're not by any means criticizing either the councils for putting this material in. It's your job to do it. But this has proven to be a Rubik's Cube inside of an enigma for us. We're not lawyers. So please let us have some leeway on this. Okay.
We're right there.
Yeah. According to section 2.3 of the Rules of Procedure of Saugatuck Township Zoning Board of Appeals, the chairperson has authority to establish reasonable conditions for persons wishing to speak during the public hearing portion of this meeting. Due to the number of persons present and the complexity of the issues presented to the Board of Appeals, and the fact that a great deal of comment was received by the board at September 11th, 2003 meeting, and that the board has around 2,000 pages, I'm repeating myself for emphasis, of submitted documents to consider, and more yet to be reviewed. The following conditions shall apply for making public comment on this dispute between SDCA and North Shores at the second meeting. Council representing the Coastal Alliance and North Shores will be called upon first to present any additional argument they may present. And was not presented at the last meeting. And was not presented at the last meeting. They shall each have 5 minutes. After the completion of the presentation by council, The board will accept comments from the public. If the person commenting spoke at the last meeting on September 11th, 2023, he or she will be allowed 2 minutes. As a courtesy to this board, you are requested to limit your comments to points you did not make during your presentation at the time of the September 11th meeting. Board members have a transcript of the September 11th proceeding, so your comments have been memorialized word for word. Also, be mindful that will be no voting on the materiality or good cause that determines submissions this evening. So I want to repeat, we're not going to vote on this evening. Any members of the public who did not speak at the December 11th, 2023 meeting of this board are welcome to speak and will be limited to 3 minutes, as were the members of the public last week. Before speaking, please identify yourself and state your address. The chair and the attorneys of Coastal Alliance, the North Shores, request that you limit your comments at this meeting to the issue of what documents submitted to this board by either Coastal Alliance or North Shores are material, and whether SDCA has standing, and whether there was good reason for the party's failure to submit those documents for consideration to this board at its meetings held on October 11, 2017 or April 9th, 2018. There will be opportunity for council and public to commit to comment on a later date on the issue of whether SDCA has standing based on the material submitted to the ZBA previously.
I think it's good that I don't work here. I'm really just faking.
Just a.
I wonder who that was. Where was I? Previously, and any additional material evidence with good reasons was not presented at the October 2017-2018 meetings. And the test announced by the Michigan Supreme Court, Saugatuck Douglas Alliance with the Saugatuck Township and North Shores Saugatuck LLC, 509 Michigan 561 2022. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved. That was Webster.
This is a roll call,
Yeah.
a roll call vote. Kerr?
Roll call?
Yeah.
Griffiths? Yes. Boker?
Aye.
Kerr? Aye. Stewart?
Here.
Webster? Yes.
Motion carries. It has been moved and seconded, the board having voted to open public comment portion of this meeting is now open. And we'll start with the parties.
Good evening, and thank you, Scott Howard, on behalf of the Saugatuck Coastal Alliance. I appreciate your task and very much appreciate your service. You do have a voluminous amount of documentation that we've been given. We have endeavored to try and make that as easy to digest as possible. Why we give you with binders with the tabs. And along those lines, I want to just talk about the document that we did produce for you for tonight, but I hope you take a look at going forward, because I think it'll also help you again make these determinations in a relatively straightforward way, using that language that you heard from the circuit court. And in particular, it's a document that has it's color coded, so you can keep track of what things are new and what things were originally in the record. This is something that we gave to your council tonight. So I don't have he has a physical copy for each of you, but it has not been passed out yet.
Is that different than what's in the notebook?
Yes, there's additional material.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, again, this is to try and take that material and break it down into those categories that the court asked you to look at. Is it material, and is there good reason for what, for it not being included the first time around? It is actually, it's different than that.
Okay. We don't have a copy of
You
it.
don't have a copy.
Your council created that document that you're looking at now. And I provided hard copies for you of this document to your legal counsel. So there's something.
We don't have that
Not,
document.
I don't think we have it yet. It's very possible. We've got copies available, but there's been a lot of things going on today, so we apologize for.
Certainly, so what we have in our notebook is like that might be included, but there's some other ones, so we don't have what document he's talking about.
Yes,
We do not have
It
it.
is similar to,
Thank you.
it is similar to the one.
Similar, but not complete.
But not, the reason why it is different is that it gives the explanation for each one of those documents.
Okay.
Why is it material, and why was there good reason that it wasn't produced before?
Got
So that's the, I guess, and one, as they say in basketball, there's the additional piece of information for you that's gonna hopefully help you ascertain what documents are coming in and what documents are staying out. And I hope you take a look at that, because I think it provides you a really helpful outline and guideline for making the decision. And the reason why we produced that was because your council, I think, did a nice job of creating a table with check boxes, but there's no information that goes with each of those documents. So we wanted to line up your check boxes with the information about each of those documents, so it's right there at your fingertips. And there's really two kind of categories of information that you've been presented with in the blue binders that we've given you. The first category is testimony from people, an explanation of those interests that are going to be damaged as a result of this particular project. Those are the special damages that the Supreme Court talks about. So there's some testimony, some explanation of how people are going to be harmed. And then there's also documentation that explains scientifically that those harms, there's a reasonable basis for those harms. So there's the applicant's statements, and then there's the evidence that backs those statements up. And that's a bunch of the scientific papers, that's a bunch of the scientific analysis by Dr. Kendall, for example, Susan Zimmerman, for example. Those people are providing you sort of the backup. So that's sort of the breakdown. But I wanted you to just keep in mind that when we're talking about standing, and we're talking about that gatekeeping function at the end of the day, and these are all documents that have been presented to you that help you establish whether or not there's standing. And I think if you read those documents carefully, you take a look at the sheet.
30 seconds.
And the explanation and analysis that goes into that sheet, I think the answer will be clear. The Coastal Alliance has standing. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Gabriel?
Gabriel, on behalf of North Shores. When you get around to voting at that meeting, we will get you checklists and notes about the documents themselves. I want to step back a minute though and talk about where we find ourselves here. Because what is happening here is not what the circuit court had in mind when it remanded this case to you. You were given an order to collect and consider additional evidence to support the claims or to rebut or disprove the claims. Instead, the Coastal Alliance has submitted new aggrieved party claims, attempting to add new parties in the interest in maintaining or trying to win this time around. These new affidavits contain a bunch of new individuals that are making these aggrieved party claims. And we even have them trying to add in Native American tribes as if they are the same as the Coastal Alliance. They are not. When the Coastal Alliance filed its appeal in 2017, it asserted that 8 individuals were members and were aggrieved. If you look at the sheet we were looking at with the green and blue from Mr. Howard, it lists the identity of the people that filed affidavits in 2017. The Coastal Alliance is not asserting that itself as an entity has been harmed. It's up in the blue part, those 8 individuals. The Coastal Alliance isn't asserting that itself is harmed. It's asserting that it has the right as an association to speak on behalf of those individuals. So the real question is whether those individuals are aggrieved parties or not. Now, your attorney can advise you on this idea of representational standing and how it impacts this case. I suggest that you ask them. They can also confirm for you, and I think they will, that the deadline for filing this appeal expired in 2017. And that the determination of who has standing has to be made based on the facts as they existed when the appeal was filed. Ask them that as well. These indisputable holdings in Michigan law mean 3 important things for you. 1, the Coastal Alliance cannot add new aggrieved party claims 5 years after the appeal was filed. All those new affidavits of people saying, me too, me too, me too, and then the Native American tribes. Any events occurring after the appeal, for example, Mr. Swan buying a cottage in the middle of the critical dunes, are not material because it's determined as of the date of the appeal. Native American materials are not relevant to this determination because they are not a party to this case. They could have filed an appeal back in 2017, they did not. Because this process has gone so far off the rails, I realistically see 2 options for you tonight that I would suggest. Option 1, to go to Chairman's point and Ms. Osmond's point, this is not your normal type of case. Tell your attorney that you need clarification from the circuit court on this issue of new claims and just more guidance on what in the world you're supposed to do. The township is a party to this case. The township objected, along with myself, to this happening. A party has the right to file a motion for clarification with the court and then ask for guidance.
1 minute.
Option 2, if you decide not to do that, and at some point you're going to jump into materials, with the scope of new claims, new parties that has been submitted by the Coastal Alliance, you absolutely must take that part of it first. You have to decide what they are allowed to bring in as new 5 years after the fact, and then we need to be given a chance to respond.
30 seconds.
Due process requires that. Now, I have 2 handouts to give to you tonight. One is just a summary of those 2 options that I've identified. And the second is kind of a graphic that describes the claims, the parties, and a little bit of case law that applies to this. And during your discussion, I would gladly welcome any questions that you have, if there's any interest in being interactive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Should I present it to the chairman?
I think our council better.
Yep. Let's go around.
So we're gonna alternate, we'll alternate between Zoom and the audience. Is there anybody with a hand up in Zoom?
Yep. Matthew Bustler.
Matthew?
He gets 2 minutes.
Yes, my name is Matthew Bustler. I'm the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi Indians.
Here.
Hold on. Matthew, we can't hear you, so that's why we're having.
You can't hear me right now?
Now we can.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
You can hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry about that. My name is Matthew Bustler, and I am the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi Indians. Our headquarters is at 58620 Sink Road in Dowagiac, Michigan, 49047. And to start, the Pokagon Band would like to request that the Zoning Board of Appeals to include the Machipineshuish Band of Potawatomi Indians ethnographic report, the letter of determination from the Keeper of the National Register, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers memo for record dated November 15th of 2022, and the letter of concurrence from the State Historic Preservation Office into the record as technical reports with data that was unavailable in 2017. I would also like to reiterate the confidential nature of the ethnographic report and importance of not sharing it outside of a strict need-to-know basis. These documents help detail the special damages tribal nations will suffer as a result of the township permitting a special approval use of marina. Adverse effects to the Kalamazoo Rivermouth TCP, or traditional cultural property, are upcoming. And due to this, we as the Pokagon Band strongly oppose the development. The Kalamazoo Rivermouth TCP embodies natural features with minimal disturbance. This is a primary characteristic of the area that warrants its eligibility for the National Register of Historic Places. The marina would diminish the integrity of the area's feeling and natural beauty. Also, the construction of the maintenance for this marina could have negative impact.
We can't hear you again.
You're unable to hear me now?
Yes.
30 seconds.
Construction and maintenance of the marina would have negative impacts on the lake sturgeon or nemad of the Kalamazoo River, and the population has been declining. And to rehabilitate and maintain the quality of that aquatic habitat, we must not allow this marina to go through. And these bullets are literally a fraction of the total devastating effects that would, occur to the ecosystem and local indigenous communities' goal to protect the Kalamazoo Rivermouth and surrounding area. I appreciate this opportunity to speak. Miigwech.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience?
My name, can you hear me?
Yes.
My name is Dawn Schuman. I live at 296 Lakeshore Drive in Douglas, Michigan. I am a founding member of the Saugatuck Coastal Alliance. I have been on the Douglas Planning Commission, on the Tri-Community Comprehensive Plan, and I have served on boards like this in 3 different states. So I appreciate what you're going to do. But I am one of only about 10 people who invested more than $100,000 in the preservation of the Saugatuck Harbor Natural Area. I'm asking you to include my affidavit in the record, as well as the new material evidence that details how the proposed special approval use marina violates the Tri-Community Comprehensive Plan and local zoning. As the new evidence details, my significant investment will be damaged by the proposed marina. The Army Corps details this, as does the State Historic Preservation Office, as does the City of Douglas. You know, folks, I made this donation feeling confident that you would honor the zoning laws, feeling confident that you would honor your commitment to the Tri-Community Comprehensive Plan, that you would honor the voices of the hundreds of people that are speaking out against this. I believe you to be honorable people. Honor those promises. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Jeff?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Jeff Chivis. I'm on tribal council for the Nottawassippi Huron Band of the Potawatomi. Our address is 1485 Minot Bemadzewin Way in Fulton, Michigan, 49052. Our tribal nation has been working closely with the Coastal Alliance and others since 2017 to oppose the marina and development at the mouth of the Kalamazoo River. And since 2018, our nation has been members of the Coastal Alliance. We filed a joint appeal of the Eagle permit in 2018, and we have contributed to Alliance's legal strategy as well. The mouth of the Kalamazoo River lies within our Aboriginal territory and is included in the 1821 Treaty of Chicago, of which we were signatories to. This area is considered one of the most sacred places for our people, and it continues to play an important role in our cultural beliefs and practices. Throughout our long history and into contemporary times, we use the Kalamazoo River, including the mouth, to exercise our treaty rights to hunt, fish, trap, and gather natural resources. The mouth of the river provides significant habitat for lake sturgeon, which is one of our most culturally significant resources, and which would be threatened by the marina. Furthermore, the proposed marina directly threatens the ecology and habitat of the state of Michigan's newly recognized state grain, which is wild rice, yet another significant resource for our people. In addition, the mouth of the river contains critical breeding habitat for the state's endangered prairie warbler, which would be affected by even minor habitat disturbances. The bird species has been documented as breeding in this area. The dunes are also crucial stopover habitat for other migratory birds along the shore of Lake Michigan, which is a major migration corridor for them. Further development at the mouth of the river ultimately creates an adverse impact on sacred archaeological, cultural, and natural resources due to the proposed construction and additional boat traffic. The State Historic Preservation Officer agrees with our position that the proposed undertaking will have an adverse effect on the river mouth, which is now a designated traditional cultural property, or TCP. For these reasons, we strongly oppose the permit and cannot support further disturbance of this critically significant area. The Nottawassippi Huron Band of the Potawatomi stands with the Coastal Alliance and our other allies in asking you to deny the special use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the audience?
Hi, my name is Holly Engel and I reside at 3171 Lighthouse Way in Saugatuck. I'm a member of the Saugatuck Coastal Alliance. I did not participate in the ZBA process in 2017 because I was not a property owner until 2018, at which point I began focusing on our community and matters that impact it. But while I didn't have an affidavit on file prior, I request you to please consider mine now. I've been a local charter boat captain aboard the Best Chance team for over 10 years. I'm also a board member of the Michigan Charter Boat Association. The mission of that organization is to preserve a natural resource and protect the fishery that Lake Michigan has to offer. My husband, Hunter Engel, has been a local charter boat captain for 20 years. My father-in-law, David Engel, 40+ years. My brother-in-law, 5+ years. Our charter boats run and operate every day, April through October 1. We combined between the three boats run over 400 charters per year. With that, based on my and my family's long history on the Kalamazoo River, I can say with confidence that the proposed marina at the mouth of the river poses major safety risks. I'm also concerned that the water diversion within the mouth of the river will force the natural ecosystem to become imbalanced and directly impact fish migration. The DNR plants over 100 fingerling salmon into the Kalamazoo River every other year. These fish imprint upriver from where the marina is, and they're supposed to return to a river mouth and upriver every year. With the water diversion, that makes it a complication. 30 seconds. Our fishery is over $1 million industry for the Saugatuck Township. Reportedly, we are the second most popular destination for out-of-state anglers. Roughly 74% of our customers that come mainly because of fishing. These are not just fishing customers. They also stay at our hotels, they eat at our restaurants, they shop local. And the marina poses a major threat at the river mouth where the Chinook salmon and rainbow trout will not return to their natural spawning grounds upstream. Maintaining the local fishery is imperative to our sustained community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
anyone on Zoom have a public comment?
I would like to speak if I may.
Please raise your hand.
I can't on the web browser version of this, but
What's your name?
my name is Chris Deem, and I am one of the original claimants to this lawsuit. And I spoke last week, and what I'd like to say that I didn't last time is, as an architect that's been working for over 40 years, never, ever have I seen a planning review board grant a variance for maximizing profit or maximizing usability of a piece of property. Variances are typically only given when there is no other way to accomplish a task or to ignore a setback or whatever. So this was wrongly decided in the first place, inexplicably to me. As the nearest neighbor south of this, nearest residential neighbor south of the river, I will be directly impacted by this. And I just urge in your deliberations and votes to realize that this will have direct impact on people and that it can't be undone. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Good evening.
I'm short, so I gotta have my. Would you, Asio Clay Commission cause Potawatomi now, mentioned Actually, and Dobbin Douglas. She came down, Bradley, and Deutsche Grand Valley, and Diane. My name is Phyllis David. I'm an elected official for the Manchiban Band of Potawatomi Indians. I'm also the NAGPRA rep for the tribe, their tribal council liaison. And I would like to mention that the tribe of Manchiban Band is a member of the Saugatuck Township Coastal Alliance since 2017. And we have really taken an interest here as ancient lifeways, historical life center for my tribe. I'm a descendant of Manchiban and signatory to 3 treaties with the United States government. The tribe would see and continue to suffer social impacts and potential loss could be immeasurable. Success of the Neme, which is a sturgeon, which our tribe believes is our brother with our clan systems. There has been a resurgence that the tribe has invested in many, many years, since 2006, for their rebirth, their life cycle. The life that they live and need to have on the Kalamazoo River is essential for the rebirth and regrowth of our Kalamazoo River. We want to maintain a healthy lifeway system for all water. We know that our water is at risk. We see people from all around the world looking at our waterways, and we need to learn how to take care of them. The Neme is one of those clan brothers that will help us do that. One of the important things for me and for our tribe is the fact that we're able to provide cultural teachings and practices and reinstitute language for our young people. But going forward, we're looking at our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, the ability to educate our neighbors, our community members, to do research to help propagate and instill future for all life systems within the Kalamazoo River and the Lake Michigan area. I'd like to say much. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else in Zoom?
Anyone else on Zoom want to make a public comment? Nicholas Wallace?
Hi, can you guys hear me all right?
Yes.
All right. Good evening to the ZBA. My name is Nicholas Wallace, and my address is 3524 Dugout Road in Saugatuck Township. I'm urging the ZBA to accept my affidavit as new evidence, since I was a minor in 2017 when I helped work on my families, my mom, Kathy Wallace, and my grandmother, Diane Bealey. On top of my affidavit, I encourage the ZBA to take seriously the new evidence that has been generated since 2017. I ask that you include the United States Army Corps of Engineers memorandum for record as new evidence, as it details several direct impacts the marina would have to my family cottage and the surrounding areas. It's important to remember that this is not the same scenario, nor the same body of evidence that you were faced with in 2017. There's been a ton of new science and a ton of new ethnographic work, and I trust that you'll make the right decisions on what new evidence to accept. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Elizabeth Benoni Smith. I serve as the Environmental Director for the Match-Benashuish Band of Potawatomi Indians, headquartered at 2872 Mission Drive in Shelbyville. As such, I'm part of the Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance. I would like the Zoning Board of Appeals to consider my affidavit as well as the Ethnographic Traditional Cultural Property Study, or TCP, from December 2019. My department leads the lake sturgeon restoration efforts in the Kalamazoo River. The Kalamazoo River lake sturgeon, called Neme in Potawatomi, are small and declining. This fact is agreed upon by the Michigan DNR, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and the tribe. Lake sturgeon are a state threatened and candidate species for federal listing under the Endangered Species Act. They are also an important plant animal and relative to the Potawatomi. The Kalamazoo River Neme are a genetically unique population that imprint on the Kalamazoo River and maintain lifelong fidelity with it for annual migration and spawning. Threats to Neme from artificially increasing shoreline to construct a boat basin include altered river flow and water level, degradation of habitat, increased boat traffic causing propeller strike, increased boat traffic causing suspended sediment and fragmented vegetation to cover food and other habitat, decreased water quality, entrainment and circulation pipe, future dredging, construction-related turbidity and sound disturbance. In the TCP effect determination, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers stated that consulting tribes have indicated that even the most minimal loss or threat to the lake sturgeon population would be devastating to the spiritual well-being and ongoing cultural practices. We acknowledge and accept the tribe's views on this matter, and we find that the undertaking's potential impact for lake sturgeon, including an increase in potential stressors for the Kalamazoo River lake sturgeon due to the effects described above, constitute an adverse effect on the TCP.
1 minute.
Allowing the construction of the boat basin will diminish the effort that the tribe has dedicated to rehabilitating this particularly vulnerable population of lake sturgeon. This is a non-reversible change that will have adverse effects on the lake sturgeon, the Kalamazoo River mouth traditional cultural property, as well as the Match-Benashuish Band of Potawatomi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else on Zoom? Please raise your hand. Last call? Nope.
Anybody here?
Can you hear me now?
Can you
We
raise,
can hear you.
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
can you raise your hand? Oh.
Oh.
Sounds like. Found you.
My mic is on, the video is on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm Dale Harrison. I live at 3108 62nd Street in Saugatuck Township. You may know me from my long history of commitment to the preservation and protection of the Kalamazoo River. I want to mention just briefly the people that the attorney from North Shores mentioned are not joining this as a party, as aggrieved parties. They're part of this process as individuals that will be adversely impacted or harmed. They're also providing a lot of additional information that the Planning Commission should have acquired before they made the decision. When they deferred all this time and effort on the basin to the Corps of Engineers and the DEQ at that time, now Eagle, it seems to me that they never really did the job they should have done to begin with. And I've talked about that before on the obvious violation of the zoning ordinance that has a mandate against any construction of a basin.
1 minute.
Thank you. So the Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance has gone to great efforts and expense that no other organization or individual in the community has done. They've devoted endless hours and hundreds of thousands of dollars. They have a large base of support in the community. They are specifically, more specifically in so many ways than other members of the community are not. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about the cultural activity, the history.
30 seconds.
The significance of the sturgeon. So I think the simplest way to move forward, rather than belabor every point and every issue that's going to be protested anyway, is just to accept all the information from both sides. And then when you get into the standing issue, let's get that resolved. And then get into looking at the individual evidence as it comes forth after you've agreed to standing, which I think is, I'm confident you will. And then determine the merit of those documents and interest at that time. To belabor this endlessly, it's an incredible effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the room?
David Swan, I'm a county board member of the Alliance. I live at 876 Park Street. A lot of people say the only constant is change. And the North Shore plan has certainly taken that to heart, changing their plans almost annually. And these changes have generated a ton of new evidence from Army Corps of Engineers, State Historic Preservation Office, the tribal nations who have spoken tonight. Supreme Court recognized this in their ruling, as did Judge Kangas. Judge Kangas did not specify a timeline for new evidence. His order specified what is material and what was not admitted into the record for good reason. Certainly good reason is that the state and federal reviews are still going on, which is generating a lot of new evidence.
1 minute.
Thank you.
One on Zoom. Dakota?
Oh, we have somebody else.
Bonjour. My name is Dakota Hobai. I serve as the Tribal Historic Preservation Officer for the Match-Benashuish Band of Potawatomi Indians. They're headquartered at 2872 Mission Drive, Shelbyville, Michigan, 49344. So as it has been mentioned previously, the Match-Benashuish Band has been a member of the Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance since 2018, and the tribe has partnered and collaborated with the SCCA on several projects in the area since that point in time, including the state contested case regarding the eagle permit. Back in 2017, there was no information previously provided regarding the tribe's interest in cultural and historical understandings of this area, despite several historical and archaeological reports contracted by the applicant that failed to address the Potawatomi Band's prominence and connection to the area. To this point, we are not a new aggrieved party. We have been participating in the state and federal permitting processes since October 2017, when the tribes were finally made aware of the project despite our critical interest in this area. We would recommend the following documents be provided to the board with the recommendation that they be included in the record as new material evidence. This includes the Kalamazoo River Mouth Traditional Cultural Properties Ethnographic Study, the Dr. Thomas King's memo dated July 2nd of 2020, the SHPO's letter of concurrence regarding the KRM TCP dated August 26, 2020, the NPS Keeper's determination of eligibility issued September 21st of 2020, and the Army Corps of Engineers memorandum for record issued 2015-2022. Our concerns are not just related to environmental and conservation concerns. These adverse effects impact the ongoing existence of our traditional lifeways and relationships to the river mouth and all of the beings that continue to live in this place. Miigwech.
Anyone in the audience?
Anybody else? I think we're done.
Move to close the,
You need a motion to close the public hearing?
yes.
Move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Due to the volume of material we have received, I move we adjourn.
I don't want to second that. Because I'd like to say something before we adjourn.
Yes.
I have great respect for the passion of our citizens. And you know how diligently we've been working on this. I just brought all this just as a visual, you can begin to appreciate that what we're dealing with, we want to do honorably with integrity. I think we've really been left like on a hook out into the channel by the circuit court and by the Supreme Court. I think what I would recommend is that we go back, we file a motion to the circuit court and say, what exactly are we to do on this instead of new material? What does that mean? Does that mean since the last appeal or something so that we get some direction from them? I think they've just thrown it out and said, yeah, anything, there's new information out there, but I can't tell you what that is or what should be included. I don't know how because we're not permitted to talk to one another outside of this meeting. I don't know what anybody else feels.
I agree, and we have motions and we're going to discuss that without doing this. So I don't think it's yet time to adjourn.
Is there a second?
No.
Good.
So
what's our next step?
Was that a
Basically,
motion?
what is our next step?
I'm about to. But thank you. I understand what you're saying. Since the board has not received all of the documents that the parties have submitted for our review, this is the 500 so odd pages, it would be improper to vote on any documents at this meeting. Due to the large volume of materials to be considered and how to handle the mechanics of determining their materiality and the good cause why they are not presented in the ZBA meetings in October of 2017 and April of 2018, presents an opportunity to question if the board is on the right track, just what we've all been saying. Council has suggested to the board the possibility of filling a final motion for clarification with the circuit court regarding Judge Kanga's order of April 27, 2023. They have also suggested that they work with counsel from the SDCA and North Shores to agree on as many documents as possible in hopes of reducing the number of documents in controversy. They also have recommended that they be permitted to undertake any other legal activities that would serve to benefit the ZBA and its goals of implementing what the circuit court has or will order. A proposed resolution to that effect has been provided. You can follow on this motion. Well, Cindy's going to read the motion.
And Cindy, hand out a copy so that all the board members have a copy of the resolution. And we'll give a copy to the council as well. All right, thanks. Thank you. Everybody got one?
Another one.
Another one?
Nope, we got it. We got it.
Okay.
I have an extra.
Patrick was
Would you like to read this? The motion would be to,
Need a motion to, adopt this, following resolution, and then,
Is that a
and then
motion?
prior to reading it,
Yes, we have to have the motion on the table first.
to, okay,
And
so
then we can
I,
discuss it.
okay, I move that we, accept the fall of the zoning board of appeals adopt the following resolution.
That you, Kurt?
There's a foundational statements in those paragraphs at the beginning that explain why the resolution is being presented. So if you would read through those, that'll help give
You
back.
want the whole thing read?
Please, if you
I
will.
will read it.
Oh, you will read it, or you want me
I
to
will
read it?
read it to you.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm gonna say in good faith before we start that I don't like this process. I think we should have time to review these documents before they're put in front of me, read one time and vote yes or no. That's my personal opinion, that this is being rushed in regard of other things that we have to consider here. That's the way, that's why I asked for motion to adjourn. I understand you didn't maybe think what I was thinking, but I think this is rushed.
well, you may be right, and I think that we should go through it. And then we can determine whether we should vote on the motion tonight, or whether we should postpone it and agree with you to adjourn.
Rex, I understand your concern, but if you read the resolution that's in front of you.
Well, I had
you're
about
asking-
1 minute to do that so far.
Okay, but if you
Part of
look
my
at the
point.
fourth paragraph, it actually does say that we as a zoning board of appeals are not gonna vote on any materials, and that we need time, and so that is what this resolution's about.
Thank you.
So I will go ahead and read the resolution. That this board has attempted to review all the documents submitted to it by the Saugatuck Dunes Coastal Alliance and North Shores of Saugatuck, with the intent to vote on additional material evidence that exists with good reason was not presented previously at the October 2017 and April 2018 meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals as provided by MCL 125.3606 paragraph 2 and by the order of Judge Roberts Kangas of the Allegan County Circuit Court dated April 17, 2023.
April 27.
2023. That it was learned less than 3 days ago that a submission from North Shores has not been provided to the board members for their review, that the board has had difficulty reviewing all the documents due to the volume even without the North Shore submission mentioned in the paragraph immediately above, and that in light of the volume of materials it is being asked to review and the difficulty of the issue to be decided what additional material evidence exists that with good reason was not presented previously at the October 2017 and April 2018 meetings of the Zoning Board of Appeals. The question arises whether the board is undertaking its tasks in a manner consistent with the Circuit Court order of Judge Kangas, and that in light of the volume of materials, the Zoning Board of Appeals questions whether counsel for the SDCA and North Shores may agree that some or all of the documents have been submitted to the ZBA are material and for good cause were not presented previously, and that in light of the events listed above, other recommendations from litigation counsel might be appropriate. Be it resolved that the board requests its litigation counsel be authorized to file with the Allegan County Circuit Court such motions as counsel deem appropriate to secure the court's further direction or instructions concerning the order dated April 27, 2023. Further, that its litigation counsel be authorized to contact counsel for the SDCA and North Shores in an attempt to seek a possible resolution to reduce the volume of the documents for the ZBA to review by agreement, reduction of duplicates or other means, and also work to devise an agreed upon method for consideration of any remaining documents. Further, that it is litigation that its litigation counsel undertake any other legal activities that it deems necessary to facilitate the implementation of any circuit court orders or to protect the interests of Saugatuck Township and the zoning board of appeals. So this is a request to get clarification from the court and see if we can't reduce the volume of the documents and let our litigators file such documents. Is there any further discussion?
No. I have the following questions through all this, and I have been able to go through all this, but what remains is the court's use of the word, 2 or 3 words involved in this thing that there's no definition for. There's no legal definition in the Michigan law, and we simply don't know how to react to them. And I think for myself, to make a decision without attempting to get clarification of the key issues put out by the circuit court would be just leaving a certain portion out. And I have what I think now is enough to vote on these things, but I have very little confidence that I really have a full grasp of it. So that's why I think it's a good thing to go to circuit court for definition of this. And they may not give us one, but it's certainly worth a try.
Any more discussion? Any more discussion?
Rex, you have no further comment on or thoughts?
I'm fine, thank you.
Okay.
So can I call for the question?
You can.
Because it's already been moved and seconded that this resolution be adopted.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Call for the question.
Okay, Webster,
Yes.
Kerr,
Yes.
Belker,
Aye.
aye. Tristis,
Yes.
Stritsis, Stewart,
Yes.
motion carries, the resolution is approved. Now.
Now you can adjourn. I move we adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries.